Kirk Yang, who's the head of Asia hardware at Barclays Capital, joining us. And of course, Kirk has been covering hardware, covering what Apple comes up with for so many years. And initially, your reaction to the death of Steve Jobs?
Well, I think this is a sad day for everybody, especially for those in the tech world. When Steve resigned from CEO position, we know the day, unfortunately, will eventually come. Apple was his baby, that he will only leave his job unless he has to. So this is quite unfortunate. Just over the weekend, I looked at my two kids who fight over iPad 1, iPad 2.
Yeah.
I look at my mom, who lives in the U.S. I don't see, but I can talk to her on FaceTime every week. I really think Steve Jobs changed the world, make people closer, make things much better, easier to use. It's not like some other tech companies looking for faster chip, faster performance. He makes things easier, that everybody can use the product, make our life easier, simpler. So again, this is really a sad day for all of us.
It is a very sad day for all of us. I mean, talk to me about the inspiration he's had on the industry itself. You know, for users, you know, my mother uses an iPad and she's 65. I mean, his influence on technology and him bringing magic back to the world of computing.
Exactly. You can see a 5-year-old kid can turn on the iPad and know how to use it. That to me is amazing. You don't need instruction manual. A 5-year-old kid can use it. You look at this new Ultrabook, the new PC Catalyst, who just copy a MacBook Air. Basically, everybody trying to copy Apple's product, so that tells you how much influence Apple has on everybody.
And Kirk, isn't it significant to note that he perhaps changed the world several times over? He introduced the Mac back in the early 1980s, and now this new generation of products. I mean, I've seen two waves of Apple products in my lifetime that really defined two generations.
Absolutely, and I think he shows the greatest comeback. Recall that he founded Apple, he was kicked out by his own people that he hired. Then he came back to Apple with even better products. I think the Steve Jobs, I'm sure you saw this video on the Stanford speech during the graduation. It's very inspirational.
So inspirational. That was one of the most inspirational speeches I have ever read and heard. Him telling Stanford grads just to go out there and live life and do what you find passion in.
Exactly, and that shows through his products. You look at this new iPhone. I think the company is so honest. They could easily call iPhone 5, and stock will go up 10%. But he called iPhone 4S, but he knows it's a smaller improvement. A lot of things in the software, not the hardware. So I think Apple really have different products. They were honest, open to all the consumers. They earn a lot of trust from the buyers, also from shareholders.
I want to quote from that Stanford commencement speech back in 2005. Steve Jobs speaking there to graduates, and he said, and I quote, remembering you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. He said, you are already naked. There's no reason not to follow your heart.
Exactly.
So clearly a fearless corporate leader, a corporate leader that some people despised because they thought he was played too much by his own rules. In fact, he lost his job over that. But in the end, perhaps that fearlessness and that passion to win, as Sumner Redstone once called it, really defined his life.
Absolutely. I think he's a good role model for all of us, that we need to follow our passion, our dream. Money is always important, but the most important thing, you do the things you like. With passion, I always tell my colleagues, money will come. So I think that his product, his inspiration, his passion really showed us a very big example.
You know, Kirk, you've been covering hardware in the Asia Pac for so many years. What about what's happening with Samsung and all the other Asian companies that help build the actual, I guess, the Apple products and also the components that go into them? Do they have any reaction so far? Do you think there will be any reaction?
Well, I think unfortunate truth is that people already anticipate that. When he went to medical leave of absence, when he left his CEO position, people already planned for that. As a matter of fact, I do believe that Apple have at least 3 to 5 years of product pipeline. So I'm not too worried about near-term Apple product coming out from Taiwan, for example. The supply chains look quite strong for 3Q and 4Q. The iPhone build, the iPad build. Obviously, we have iPhone 5 next year, we have iPad 3 next year. Everything's on track. Obviously, no one can replace Steve Jobs, but I think in the shorter term, there should be no impact to the stock price. Most of the fund manager client I talked to already anticipate that. I talked to our U.S. Apple analyst, Ben Risey. He told me the same thing. So it's not a surprise, but it's just a sad day for all of us.
What about collector's items? You know, some are saying if you have the Mac 2, which came all the way out 1980s, was that the first Mac, the Macintosh computer?
Right.
I mean, you could
1981,
eBay that for multiples And first iPhone,
And Newton.
first iPod, the Newton, yeah.
Yeah, the big tablets. Definitely go to eBay. There's a lot of items for collections.
But look how far we've come, and I think this says a lot about the United States and this very strong sense of high technology, of what consumers want. You know, the innovation that exists there, really defined by Apple, and I know Jobs exceptionally proud of that.
Yeah, innovation, but I think also easy to use. Doesn't matter how great your products are, doesn't matter how many bells and whistles are. I study engineering. You get too complex, no one cares. Easy to use, even a kid, 5-year-old can use the product. And if it's too hard, no one uses it. So I think the greatest contribution is give us the great products for everybody to use.
Yeah.